Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, May 3rd. It is 6:22 right now. Market's gonna open in about 8 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. One last thing here. All right, cool. Looks like we are good to go. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. This also sent out to you guys here. All right. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start market liquidity over here on the daily chart. Now I'll go down to the 8 hour. Go down to the 4 hour. Go down to the 2 hour. Go down to the 1 hour. Go down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. Down to the 10 minute. And it looks like we are good to go. All right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, May 3rd. It is 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. Happy Friday, everyone. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity above is going to be at this high point right here at 38,934. And the closest level of liquidity down below is going to be at 38,651. So as you can see, these levels of liquidity were established based off the NFP news this morning. The NFP news was actually negative. So this was all manipulation here on open or on the open of the news candle at 5:30. So if you look at the news for today, very unusual, very negative. So it was negative, like all non-farm. It was non-farm negative. You can see over here on CNBC, it says US job growth totaled 175,000 in April, much less than expected, while unemployment rose to 3.9%. So the job market's horrible right now. There's not very many jobs available, and a lot of people are getting unemployed. So price should come back down for correction. You might see a target price point will be probably down here if price does come back down. So, I mean, we'll see. Just be careful with your guys' entries today because obviously, NFP is one of the most like trickiest days to trade. A lot of traps being set here. Obviously, you can see the biggest trap was set on the news release right here with this big green candle that shouldn't have really spiked up like that. But we market liquidity here, closest level right here, closest level below. Let's go over here to our clean chart. We will take a look at this here, markup 6:30, markup 8 o'clock. Go on the 4 hour time frame. Identify structure up here. So I'll identify this structure right here. I'm not going to mark up this here that's pending because it's not established yet. Or structure right there, go down to the 1 hour time frame. I mean, a lot of times the resistance doesn't really matter. So I don't know if you guys want me to keep labeling it as support resistance. I think it's kind of pointless because you know they're going to be support resistance. Like the zone's there for a reason. And I kind of don't want to confuse you guys with like calling it a support. And then, you know, when price comes below, it turns into a resistance. So I think what I'll do here is I'll just draw the zones, guys. If you guys want me to draw, put the label there where it says 1 hour support, 4 hour support, whatever it may be, just let me know and I'll do that. But I think it looks a lot better when it's clean because you don't have any like, you just don't have anything that doesn't need to be there. Like you can see the zone and you know that's probably where price will likely bounce off. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bounce off support. It can basically break below and establish, you know, resistance there. So I'll mark up the zones here, but if you guys want me to go back and put the labels there, just, you know, chime in and let me know. So I think it looks a lot better when it's cleaner. I'm gonna try to keep it as clean as possible, especially for the clean chart. So market's about to open shortly, guys. I've marked up these zones right here. Closest level of support is going to be down here. And that's about it. So that's all we got for that right there. Going over to our main chart over here. I think there was news at, well, obviously there's news at 5:30. That was about it. So we got news right here at 5:30, news at 6:45 and 7. So 6:45, 7. And NFP news right here. I'm so glad the NFP news was right at the New York high from yesterday, because now we have all of the red flags down here. So I don't mind if price stays around this area. I'm fine with it kind of just sitting around this area if that becomes the case, because there's no red flags up here. Otherwise, I'm also okay with trading down below here, as long as price doesn't come back down to you know, this lower end. So. All right, guys. Good morning, everybody. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. Happy Friday, everyone. Today's Friday, May 3rd, 6:29 right now. Market's going to open in about 30 seconds. And I'm ready to kick off this trading day. Let's close out this week strong. So market's about to open shortly. We currently have a bit of a bullish trend right now, which I don't know. We'll see what happens here when market opens. You might see a spike down, you might see a spike up. I don't really know what's going to happen here. It's kind of tricky because price should be coming back down for correction, but you know, we'll see what happens. The thing is, a lot of retail is on the sell side, 67% short. So, I mean, price might not even come back down. It might just keep getting manipulated up to stop everybody out. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes the case. All right, got open price right there. There you go. Price is pushing up higher. Shouldn't really push up higher, but it's just how it is. Sellers are getting stopped out right now, of course. Especially the ones who thought price was going to come right back down. And again, this is why I don't trade news. All right, this is why we want to stay as far away from news as possible, because you can see all the news here is literally negative and price is still climbing. It makes no sense. Which is fine. It doesn't need to make sense, right? All right, guys. So we got price pushing up right here. I mean, this is possibly a high-low scalp. I wouldn't take the high-low scalp. It's a very tricky area. It's hitting a new higher high right here. So this would technically be a high-low scalp. Although, like I said, I wouldn't mess with it. Even this one right here off the opening candle, this was also a high-low scalp. But would not mess with that there. It looks like liquidity got hit, full TP already. So if you guys caught that, nice work. Thanks for identifying that right there, Johnny. Looks like Johnny probably caught that. So the upper level liquidity right there got hit. The liquidity, not liquidity, the high-low scalp right here also got hit. But again, it was on an opening candle, so I wouldn't even have thought to take a high-low scalp on that candle right there. All right, so let's see if price comes back down from where it's currently at. If this is the case right here, I'll mark up structure on the clean chart. It's got to give it some time first. Give it some time to breathe. There's also CV entry down here too. It's pre-market. So I'm gonna let the market kind of stabilize a little bit. I'm gonna let it kind of identify, where it wants to go and where is it going to go. And then once we have that, then great, we'll start to look for some entries. But obviously I don't want to be messing with it if I'm not sure with the direction of price. Thanks, Kana. There's an update right here. It says Dow opens 500 points higher. As soon as that happened, what happened? Price came right back down on this big red candle, right? It says Dow opens 500 points higher as weak job reports raise Fed rate cut hopes. It just doesn't make sense. So the Dow's up because of weak job reports. Doesn't make any sense. And it says raises Fed rate cut hopes. Both of these things here should not raise the Dow, right? Weak job market, higher unemployment, hopes of Fed rate cuts diminishing. That's not good for the market, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's all manipulation right here. Say said possibly 1030. We'll see. We'll let the market kind of stabilize a little bit, and then we'll see how the volatility will die down or if it'll stay up. Because the thing is, the volatility might not stay up, right? Right now it's currently at 29 ATR. This can easily drop back down to 20 within the next couple minutes or so. So we'll leave it at that first. Here, let's see. I'll put 1025 up here first. I'll see if it looks too small. No, I think 1025 would still do. For now at least. If the ATR is considerably high and it stays between, we'll say 30 and 40 or maybe 25 to 35, then that situation, okay, we'll make adjustments. I think right now 1025 is a pretty good sweet spot because the volatility typically happens. If you guys look at the market from yesterday, the volatility is it usually happens in the first 10 minutes and then it kind of dies down and consolidates. So last thing you want to do is make some big adjustments to your TP stop loss, and then eventually you just put yourself in more risk. So let's leave it at that for now. So looking at current price at this moment, there's nothing for us to take here. The trend here is still bullish, so price can still swing back up. I mean, if price continues to drop down, that's completely fine as well. You can see people are getting stopped out in both directions. So people who are chasing the buy here, they get stopped out because price comes back down. People who are chasing the sell, they get stopped out again because price pushes right back up. So you don't want to get caught in these whipsaws here where price goes back and forth in these huge ranges. You guys already know that this is a ranging market, right? It's a ranging market for this week. Same thing's been happening every day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And there's no surprise that the same thing is happening here again. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up some structure just for now. So we got this resistance up here, and then we have a support level right here too. I'll make some adjustments to that when we have a new lower low. But at this very moment, I'm just going to mark this up so that you guys can see where the range is currently happening. Daniel just said that a high-low scalp momentum just hit. Yeah, so there's a higher high here. This candle broke and closed below. Looks like it was super quick and it came down. Unless you waited for that later entry. Yeah, I think the candle there was just too big. So I wouldn't have taken this high-low momentum scalp because the entry candle is just way too big. That would have fell within the red flags. Or if you wanted to take it for a late entry, possibly, right? All right. So I'm kind of hoping price comes down below this lower low level because I don't like using support from pre-market. I like having new support being established. So what I'd like to see here personally is I'd like price to kind of come down a little bit, maybe to this point, and then reverse back up. At that point, we'll have some actual support resistance. We'll have one level up here, and we'd have another level down here. I mean, if it doesn't happen, that's fine because there's already a support right here. But personally, I like seeing support become established once market is actually open. So there's no PRB here yet. Actually, the PRB could be setting up, guys. So market opened right here on this green candle. Price came down. It rejected off the pivots right here. This is the space consolidation candle. So if we get this right here where price climbs back up and pushes back up higher, this could be the possible PRB. The trend here is still bullish. So if price does swing back up from this point, this could be setting up for the PRB entry. We need price to push up and we need a bottom wick rejection. Once we have that, that'll be the PRB entry. So I'll come back and take a look at that later. There's no BB3 entry here yet. There really hasn't been too many BB3 patterns past couple of days because market's kind of been going sideways. And that's typical, right? The BB3 pattern is meant for a directional market. So since there hasn't been very much direction, there hasn't been very many BB3s available. All right, so let's see what happens here. The trend here is still bullish. So there's still possibility for it to climb back up. All right, so we got price pushing up right here. This could be a possible PRB entry, guys. So if this candle closes green, this will possibly, actually, no, it's not rejecting off the pivot. But a PRB entry is setting up here. We got news over here at 6:45. 6:45 news is high impact. So you want to be careful with that 6:45 news. The news at 6:45 and 7 are both high impact. Breaking news over here from CNBC says Trump media auditor charged by SEC with massive fraud, permanently barred from public company audits. Dang, man. Trump cannot get a break, huh? His company, his employees, everybody's getting hit. All right, so we're about 5 minutes away from news right here, guys. Not really going to be able to take any entries from now until 7. So there's no PRB yet, but it is setting up. All right, since we got some time in between, guys, I'm going to step away for a little bit. I'll be right back in a few minutes. I'll be back in like maybe a minute or two. So be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. So let's see. Not much has happened here. PRB didn't come up yet. We got news right here in about 2 minutes. So let's see what happens here. So the news over here at the news at 6:45 is inflation news. So we got S&P Global Composite PMI and S&P Global Services PMI, both forecasted to be negative. So we'll see if this, dumps price right back down, or if it continues to get manipulated. As you can see over here from the retail sentiment, it's currently 68% short. This indicates that 68% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. And from my understanding, I think price is probably going to push up even higher, stop them out. Because I think a lot of people are looking for the correction, but I don't think that correction is ready to happen yet. There's not enough retail, there's not enough push behind the sell to actually get price to drop. So what might happen here is it might drop a little bit and then it might come right back up to stop everybody out. Or it might just go straight up right here and just stop everybody out like right away. So we'll see what happens here. No PRB yet, so still no opportunity there. Here goes the news entry. Yeah, Nick said the daily candle flashing buy momentum as well. Thanks, Nick, for that. That's good to know. I think price is going to be bullish. I mean, for the day, for the most part, I think it'll be bullish. All right, so no reaction to the news. The news is actually positive right here. So you can see the inflation is for both sides, both positive. No real movement here. I'm kind of okay with it to go sideways for a bit. So like I'm trying to see if I can find a momentum divergence. So I'd be okay with it kind of consolidating right here for a bit and then possibly climbing back up and pushing up higher, right? All right, so we got the divergence right here. Let's see if this bounces off opening price or the pivots and then comes right back up. Then from there, we can get a momentum divergence, possibly a high-low scalp as well off this level, right? So the PRB is actually running right now, guys. This is a PRB right here. It's currently running in profit. I think it might have already hit TP at this point. Yeah, it was a quick TP right there for the PRB. So we had the rejection off that red candle off the pivot. So price is rejecting off the opening price and the pivot right there, just like I said earlier. This could possibly set up for a high-low scalp. I wouldn't take the high-low scalp yet. I'd be looking for the momentum divergence. Okay, so I would need to have like a pretty strong green candle. I know this candle here is touching news, but if it closes pretty strong, so if I get a high-low scalp right here and it closes as a strong green candle, I'll possibly take this here for a high-low scalp and a momentum divergence. I don't know if it'll hold or if it'll even close, but that's the setup that I'm looking for here for a buy. It's not looking like it's going to happen, of course. Now this here is kind of like where it gets a little tricky, where I don't really like, because price is sitting in between the news price and the opening price. Yeah, this is a tricky area right here. If this was a smooth, so this candle here closed green and then it broke above and then it just continued climbing, then great. At that point, I'd be happy to take a buy there. But with this over here, it's a little tricky. So I actually like that price has not broken through yet, because now we have a pretty clear break in divergence. So you can see how it's bullish over here. So it was bullish right here when this buy signal came up. Now it's obviously bearish. It's not like they're flatlined. They're actually, they're moving. They're moving back and forth. So with that said, we have more space here. So now that we have this big divergence here, we can actually get price to push a bit higher, maybe sit around here, and then break above, right? So this actually works better for us because we're not on the fence right now about like where price is likely to go. Yeah, exactly. Drew said churning that butter. Literally, that's exactly what's happening here. Price is churning. It's going back and forth between these two levels right here. It's trying to lure in buyers. It's trying to lure in sellers. So once there's enough people on one side, they're going to just spike price in the opposite direction. Looking over here at retail sentiment is still at 68% short. So you can see there's a lot of people that are still holding on to their positions. Not very much have entered on the sell side or the buy side, not enough to change the percentages. They're kind of just sitting there. So again, I'm hoping price pushes up a bit. I'm okay if I don't get into the high-low scalp. The high-low scalp here is in my, like I would need them to both line up. They could happen one after each other, but I want the divergence and the high-low scalp to line up. It doesn't have to happen on the same candle. Like the high-low scalp can happen first or the divergence can happen first, but once they line up, then that's where I'm going to look for my entry because I'm going to look for one to be the initial confluence, and then I'm going to look for the other one to be the secondary confirmation, right? Because you have two confluences right there that are pretty strong. Market's bullish, retail sentiment super on the sell side, and it's bullish for us. The fundamentals should be bullish as well. Yeah, fundamentals are up 500 points. So it makes all the sense to look for a buy here. It's just, I want to wait for that confirmation before I actually take it. And then also, I don't want a sell signal to come up. So I got to make sure no sell signals here come up. If it comes up, it's fine, but we'll just have to reset our analysis from there. Yeah, Nick said seems to be heavily relying on the 5 and 10 pivots lately. Yeah, I can see that. But you can see here there's no direction. Price, like we don't even have to draw structure because you can see that price is just bouncing between the news price and the opening price right here. It's literally churning. So they push price up, they lure in buyers, they push price down, they lure in sellers, push price back up, lure in buyers, push price back down, lure in some sellers here. Eventually, price is going to choose a direction, right? At some point, price is going to break above or it's going to break below. The thing that you want to be careful for right here for the sell signal is this could be a possible fake out. So you see how price faked out right here on this candle when it spiked below, rejected off the pivot and opening price and came right back up. Same thing could happen right here. And that's exactly what's happening. They're luring in sellers. As soon as they've lured them in, they push price right back up into the range. It's all a game, right? If you guys can understand and watch and read this game, you know, it makes all the difference because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are getting sucked into these entries here. Whenever people see price drop down a little bit, they get lured into those buys or they get lured into the sells, and now they're trapped in this range right here. The last thing you want to do is be stuck in this range right here in the middle because it's either you're going to get lucky and price is going to push up or you're going to get unlucky and price is going to push down and stop you out. So just keep that in mind. Thanks, Nick. We got more news over here in about 9 minutes. You got price finally pushing back up. So this is going to be a little tricky, guys. Because if price pushes up, you're probably going to get caught on this news price right here. Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky because if the entry comes up right here, it's probably going to get caught at the news price. If you're looking for the divergence. I'm not going to take it though. I'm going to hold off on it. I'll wait for that confluence on the next one. So yeah, this is the entry that or the kind of setup that I was looking for. But unfortunately, it just was right at the news price. It would have hit TP right there too, it looks like, almost. So if this high-low scalp right here closes, I will take it. I know it's touching news price right there, but this kind of here just meets my criteria for what I was looking for. The candle here is a little too big though, so I gotta see how it closes. So I'm gonna watch this right here. Like I said, news is like the lowest of the red flags, as long as it meets my criteria of what I'm looking for here. So it looks like it's meeting it. So I'll be taking this right here. If it closes, it can't be too big, but if it closes like pretty smooth down this middle area, I'll be taking it right here. So 3, 2, 1, and I'm in the position. So I'm in the position right here, watching it full TP. I'm out. So I got some slippage right there. I was super happy because when it's such a bullshit. It's because I was looking at my P&L. I was like, man, slippage worked in my favor, but it didn't. So I was looking at my P&L. It looked like I was up 1,700 on the trade. Um, but man, it dropped down to 800. So it's all good. It is what it is. Um, yeah, exactly. Profit is profit. You know, the volatility is so high, guys. It's so high that that like it was literally at 1,700. If I would have just closed it manually, I would have been at 1,700. But it closed, and then it ended up closing me out because it pulled back down at this point. It pushed up. I was in so much profit up here, and then it pulled back down, and then it closed me out at actually 1,000, where it was supposed to. So I basically got out where I was supposed to get out, and that's where I made my profit. No, I didn't set it to 9, Nick, because the volatility is high enough now. If you've seen the previous positions, it like blasts right through it. So there's like no point in me setting it to 9, because every entry that's come up this week, it's like it's pushed at least past it by a couple points. So like for example, here this is 10 points. It actually pushed up like 16 points. So that's why my profit showed as like 1,700. I almost made 2,000 on that, but it's all good. So the entry happened right here at 640, 654. Looks like all you guys here ticket with me, so nice work, guys. Take a screenshot of that. And then now we got news over here at 7 o'clock. So time to chill out for a little bit, let news pass. And I know you literally got in, Rashida, as soon as we got out of it. It spiked right to TP2 with no drawdown. So guys, like I said earlier, this is the setup that I was looking for. You see the momentum divergence? Divergence happened on this candle right here. And I said, okay, I don't need it to happen on the same candle, but I'm going to look for the initial confluence, which was divergence or the high-low scalp. And the confirmation was going to be either the divergence or the high-low scalp. So divergence happened here. The high-low scalp happened right here. I said, once those two line up, I'm going to take the entry. I did that and went straight to TP with no drawdown. So that's how you can use your confluences to identify momentum before it actually happens. I already knew price was going to push up at least 10 points because that was my setup. And it played through perfectly. So this entry was for a high-low scalp. I mean, you could have taken either one, divergence or the high-low scalp, but I wanted that confluence, so I waited for it to actually play through. So there goes a profit right there. I'm going to add that to our profits. And we're looking pretty decent for the week. So I'm gonna keep looking for entries, but with it being NFP today, I'm not gonna force anything, of course. So we'll keep looking for entries here. There's nothing here yet. There's no BB3s. I mean, there's not really much to really work with here. The momentum divergence already came up, so there's not going to be any opportunity for a follow-up. Yeah, there just isn't anything here. There was a MPS right here. I don't know if anybody saw the MPS at 644. There was news at 645 though, so obviously you wouldn't have taken it, but there was an MPS that happened right here. So price pushed up, retraced on this red panel, the entry would have happened right here, would have shot straight to TP. I don't think anybody has identified that, but there was news at 645, so it would have been one that we would have really messed with. So let me take a screenshot of my profits real quick. So here are profits. And we'll take a look at everybody's profits as well. All right, guys, great way to kick off NFP with a Nice setup right here. So let's see. Madhu's asking possible high-low V2 setup. Madhu's in 3 minutes though. Yeah, it's a little too close to the news, Madhu, but yeah, that is a setup right there. I mean, it's actually running right now. Yeah, it's just a little too close to news. The time pack news right here at 7 o'clock too, so I wouldn't really mess with it. For me personally, if you want to take it, feel free, but I think it's a little bit too much of a risk because the news here is forecasted to be positive, which could be a good thing, but who knows? We don't even know if price will actually push up. It's been so tricky this morning with how price is actually doing the opposite of what the news has been reporting. So here are my profits right there. You can see all wins. My weekly profits back in green, looking great. Yeah, I mean, this is such a relief because I made that stupid mistake this week. You guys saw using the super dom and I was in red and it was like, it wasn't a lot in red, but it was like kind of pissing me off because I was like, I knew I shouldn't have taken that and I still did, but now my profits are looking great. So I'm happy with that. Looking over here at our team profits for the day, we have Andreas total profit of 1,740 for the day. Nice work, Andreas. We got Casey here, total profit of 750 for the day. Nice work, Casey, on your PA account. We got Natasha, total profit of 185 on her first account. Total profit of 220, 255 on her second account. Nice wins right there, Natasha. We got Johnny here, total profit of 2,500 per account. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts, so well over 10,000 for the day. Nice work, Johnny. And we have Kaner over here. Nice work, Kaner. I haven't seen you post profits in a while. Total profit of 1,200 per account. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts, so well over 5,000 for the day. It's always good to see some of you guys here who are posting profits who haven't posted profits in a while. Because I know people go through rough patches, right? Everybody goes through rough patches, even myself. And it's always good to see people back on their feet, right? Not to say that Kaner was going through a rough patch, but typically when people stop posting, they're either taking a break, they're going through a rough patch, they're just kind of chilling for a bit. I'm sure a lot of you guys are kind of like curious what happens to like a couple other people who are like a bit active. Sometimes people just need to step away. Like for myself, when I made the mistake on Wednesday, I just knew I had to step away from the charts or else it would have been detrimental to my entire account, or all my accounts. So I stepped away, didn't really look to take anything after making that mistake, and then we bounced back today. Yesterday was kind of a flat day for us, unfortunately, but made up for it today. So let's see, say it's an earthquake 8.0. Is an earthquake that just happened? Let's see, earthquake. Oh, spike. Okay. I was curious because there was an earthquake that happened here in California this week. Like I was tripping. I was like, I thought there was like I forgot what those things are called. What happens with the after the earthquake, like the shake that happens after. But yeah, no, earthquake move right here. Price spiked down super heavily off the news at 8 o'clock, or sorry, not 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And it was super negative. Okay, so the news over here at 7 o'clock was very negative, just like it was supposed to. This was already forecasted though, so you would have expected this to be negative because the news from NFP this morning was already negative. So it looks like the big spike over here was based off, like it was just a continuation. But you guys can see how the manipulation is happening right here. Price spike down, then here it goes, it pushes right back up. If you guys remember correctly, the range is still within this area right here. See this middle area? So you guys can see the fake outs that are happening on both sides. So we got a fake out up here. We got a fake out down here. Price pulls right back into the range. And it continues to go sideways from here. Aftershock. Yeah, thanks, Nick. That's what it's called. Yeah, I think we had a 4.0 or 5.0 earthquake here on Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday lunchtime. All right, Nick said might come back down to where it was before news at 5:30. Yeah, I can see that. Possibly. Actually, I don't think that will happen, Nick. There's too many sellers in the market. I don't think you're gonna make it that easy. So if you look over here on the retail sentiment, I think like this is a lot of people they downplay this right here. Like this is actually really useful. the fact that you can see that there's so many short sellers in the market, I don't think price will, that's a really big drop, right? Let's measure real quick. I mean, it could happen. I'm not going to say it can't happen, but, and actually it's not that big. It's kind of big, but it's not as big as I was expecting. I was expecting like 200 or 300 points, like what you measured this morning, but it's actually less than 200. So it can probably come down maybe halfway, maybe not right now, but eventually. Yeah, eventually. Let's see. Nick said, yeah, good point. 68 really isn't that many, though. I can see it pushing. Yeah, exactly. I can see it pushing halfway. I think, well, because here's the thing. When price comes back down, I think a lot of those people who are on the sell side, they're going to offload, right? So the number is actually it's going to diminish. And I don't think the market makers are ready for that, right? They want price to come down a little bit to lure in some more sellers, and then they're going to push price all the way back up to here to stop everybody out. But I think if they drop it down to here, people are just going to offload. I mean, I would have offloaded too, right? Put yourself in that position, Nick. Like, say, for example, you enter a sell here for NFP because you're like, oh, the news is negative, and then you're in this huge, huge drawdown. If price comes down to like even close to your break even, I would just pull out of the position altogether, right? I would recoup my losses and then just be done with it. You can see right here, they're actually piling up. So a lot of people are anticipating that. They're anticipating the drop. And I think the market makers are doing this on purpose, right? They're like, we just predicted that. I said if price drops down to this point, people are probably going to follow it. And that's pretty much what's happening. And you can see how it's changed. So it went from 69 to 68. It looks like people who jumped in, they probably jumped in when it spiked down and then they got stopped out. They probably tried to get in with the trailing stop or with a really quick stop loss, where they kind of trailed it and they probably got stopped out right away because that change was very quick. It went from 1% to 68, from 69 to 68 within like seconds. So they got stopped out with a trailing stop or they got stopped out with, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Typically, when people enter trades like that and you see a spike that changes so quickly, it's because they're using a trailing stop. And that's why I personally don't like trailing stops. I think that's how market makers trap a lot of traders because a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'll just take this lucky trade, right? And I'm sure you guys have thought about that before. You guys have had that idea, right? You're like, oh, price didn't come back down to here. I'll just use a trailing stop. What happens when you use a trailing stop? As soon as price comes down and it spikes up a little bit, you're stopped out. And then it comes back down from there. Market makers, they know that. They're not dumb. That's kind of like how the tapering works. If you guys look at the DOM over here, where's it at? At the data window. I don't even remember where that thing was. Hot list ideas. It's not even on here anymore. There used to be a DOM button that you could pull up on TradingView over here where you can see the numbers. You can open up the super DOM on like on Ninja and you can kind of see because the thing is when people have trailing stops, it shows up on the chart. You guys don't want that. Like you don't want your pending orders to show up on the chart for the market makers to stop you out. That's where they put the trailing stops, or that's where they put their liquidity. It's kind of like how that joke goes, right? Like people always joke around about if you don't use a stop loss, it's beneficial, and there's some truth to that because if you're not using a stop loss or a TP, market makers don't know where your pending orders are at, right? So it kind of there is some truth to those memes and jokes about people not using stop losses or profit targets because they don't want the market makers to see where their TPs and stop losses are. Because you guys got to understand, like they know where your stop losses are because like pretty much the broker's selling the data. Well, not here, not a regulated broker, but for the most part, brokers who are on an unregulated market. That's the whole reason why CFDs kind of got screwed over, because a lot of these bootleg brokers overseas, they would just sell your data, right? You'd be trading on these like offshore brokers, and then they sell your stop losses and TPs to the market makers, and that's how they just make money. But they wouldn't even sell it; they would just keep it themselves, and they'd stop you out themselves. That's why a lot of these offshore brokers have a bad name because they're basically scamming everybody. All right, so we currently have a new lower low right here. This is pretty much the lower low we were waiting for. So if you guys remember, I drew structure up here, right? And I drew structure right here. I said once a new lower low gets established, I'll draw a new structure. But it looks like this lower low and this one line up with each other. So we'll see. Or it might even drop even lower from this point. So we got the trend here starting to shift to the downside. This is actually a momentum divergence for a sell. I mean, I wouldn't take it, but it's a momentum divergence for a sell. If anybody saw that right there. This candle right here was the confirmation of it. And this right here was, or actually not yet. I think this candle was supposed to be the closure for that one. But I wouldn't take it because of like what we just talked about. A lot of manipulation happening here to the sell side. Look at the divergence right here. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell where it closed at. I guess technically it could have closed right there, but the trend hasn't confirmed yet. So another reason there why I wouldn't have taken it yet, because the trend here has not been established. See how far it came down from here though. I just realized how high the ATR is. Do you guys notice that? ATR is at 35 right now. That's super high for what we're used to. Usually here it's like, well, at this time at 7:10, it's usually like, it's pretty low. It's like at 15 to 20, maybe even lower. All right, so there's no entries here available yet. No breakout V3s. The PRV already hit TP right there. And there's no other entries that are available here yet. The trend hasn't shifted, so there's no sells here yet. At least not yet. It's not confirmed. Kind of just waiting for this red pivot here to cross over. Yeah, price coming back down right here. Trend is starting to shift a little bit. Yeah, CJ said he noticed how high it is. Yeah, the ATR is really, really high right now, guys. So you might want to chill out for a little bit, let the market kind of stabilize a bit before you start looking for entries. I mean, unless you want to make some big adjustments to your TP stop loss. I mean, technically, if you really wanted to, you can adjust it to like maybe like 2050 or 2550. Because the thing is, these candles are moving very high. So let me just show you an example here. I mean, they're not super bad, but you can see how it's like the volume is very high right here, right? So if you did something like say like a 2550, you'd have more space. I mean, you have a lot more space. You can see like this right here. Like if you were to take some entry, you'd have like a ton of room there to kind of breathe, right? But the thing is, you don't want to misstep. Like you don't want to change your TP stop loss just yet, and then the volatility dies down in like the next 10 minutes, which it can. So just keep that in mind. But the ATR is very high, like 37 or 40. It's kind of pushing it. Typically, we're already kind of worried when it's like above 25. Now it's like at 37. So this shows you that the market right now is irregular, right? And this is why it's important that you guys understand where the ATR is, because you know that regular ATR is between 25 and 15. That's where the ATR typically sits. When the ATR is above 25, and when it's consistently above 25, this is how you know that the market is irregular right now. This is where it kind of tells you, hey, you should probably be careful. You should probably not take any trades, because this is basically giving you a warning that the volatility is extremely high right now. It's extremely high for what the market's normally at. Um, and it just gives you it gives room for manipulation in the market. So just keep that in mind, guys. Everything that I'm teaching you guys here, everything that I'm analyzing, everything kind of comes into place. There's a nucleus where every little piece pulls into. Like you should be able to see the trend, you should be able to see the volatility, you should be able to see the momentum, you should see how market's moving, market structure. There's so many different parts to trading. And it's not just an easy plug and play. You just have to understand like that market is always going to be different. And as long as you understand these things, you're going to be able to adapt with the market. So for example, here, the volatility is too high. So I'm not even messing with the market right now. The ATR is way too high. I'm not going to risk, blowing my profits for this week off of like a risky trade here. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of factors that happen with technical analysis. Identify trend, identify momentum, identify market structure, identify volatility, identify, the direction of market. Right now, it looks like price is in a directional movement, but it's really not. So if I go over here to our clean chart, price is barely breaking out of the range, and this could be a fake out. So you guys see how we had the range right here? This here could easily be a fake out, and it'll just pull back into the range, right? So don't be fooled by like looking at the shift in trend here, because it looks like the price is trending down, but realistically, if you look on the clean chart, it's not really trending down at all. It's actually faking out right here, or it might be faking out, and it'll just pull back into the range. Because we've been in a ranging market all week. So you guys have to understand, like I said earlier, the market structure is one of the things that you should look at. If you look at market structure here, you'll see that this is really just it's a temporary move to the downside. And you can see how how the market makers pretty much manipulated traders right here. So if you go to this area right here, see how price faked out? So price came down, people would have chased the sell here. It faked out, pulled right back up. And then what do you think happened when price pulled back up here? People took buys, right? As soon as people took buys here, what happened next? Price pushed back down. What do you think when price pushed back down right here? People entered sells. What happened right here? Price faked out, and now it's pulling right back into the range. So this is like a pretty classic whipsaw movement. You can see how price came down, faked out right here, faked out right here, faked out right here, and now it's going back to where it's supposed to be, which is within this range. So you just got to tie everything together, guys. It's not always going to be as clear as this, but you can see here that this is pretty clear. They're just churning traders right here. They're basically basketing like the sellers. They stop them out, lure in buyers, stop them out, pull them down, stop them out, etc. Let's see. Nick said we even almost got caught in a fake out up top with our scalp. Luckily, we got out where we did. Yeah, exactly. At this area right here, right? So the thing with this here that I had a feeling that price was going to at least push at least 10 points. So like whenever I take entry, I try not to get close to the end parts. I like to be trading within the middle, right? So I think that's where the entry came up at 6. I forget where it was. It was like right here, I think. But yeah, that was also an area where price kind of faked out because it was just ranging within this area in between. So again, right here, if you focus down here, you'll see that they're not going to just push price back up. They want to keep luring in some more sellers. Right here, the break and retest pattern, right? That's what a lot of people look for. What happens at the break and retest? People place their stop loss right above the zone, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen this before because a lot of people trade this style. Break, retest. And what happens when they enter the retest right here? They take a short position like right here, and then they put their stop loss right there, right? And they go for like I don't know, like a 1 to 5 or something like that. What do you think is going to happen here? The people looking for the break and retest are going to get stopped out. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen here. They're probably going to get stopped out, and then it's going to come right back down. See that? I'm sure a lot of you guys have been in this position before where you're taking a break and retest and you're just sweating. You're sweating, like the sweat's just coming down right now. And you're like, damn, should I pull out early? Should I just like let it run? And then you might feel lucky because price might come down a little bit and then it might just come right back up and stop you out. But what typically happens is you get stopped out. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have tried this position before. It's a classic entry. Even I traded this before at some point. Break and retest, they look good when they happen. But when they don't happen, they look horrible. They make you feel like crap because you're looking at what everybody's looking at. So what I've learned over the years is don't do what everybody else is doing. If you see a lot of people trading break and retest, don't trade the break and retest. Because most often than not, that strategy is probably not going to work during that time period. Look for something that nobody else is doing. That's why our trading style here is very different, because we're always looking for stuff that not anybody else is looking for. Also because they don't have the same tools that we have here. And typically I don't like trading at the far ends anyways. I like trading in between. So I'm okay with trading within the range, but I'll trade in between the range, not on the very ends, like trading support resistance, right? I mean, support resistance is not horrible, but not one that I would typically be looking at, because a lot of other people are also looking at that. Let's see. Yeah, so Drew said literally bouncing off the first pivot up and 2-3 huge candle back down. Yeah, exactly. Medu said possible triple confluence. Yeah, possibly. Breaks bullet structure here. I don't know if it'll ever have enough power to push that far, but yeah, possibly. If that might be the case there. Let's see. Vimal said he got stopped out on the buy because he got in late. But the actual entry was late, not sure why. You're talking about this entry over here, Vimal, the first one we took. I mean, you would have had to have gotten like really late, because there was a lot of space here. Like there was actually like enough for you to like, it was like more than 17 points for the most part for you to get. I mean, you must have like really clicked late. Oh, yeah, then you're super late. Your entry was after it hit TP, then that's way too late. You have to enter it like right when it closes, because this thing like pushed up a little bit, and then, well, I'm not sure where your entry happened, but you must have gotten in like really, really late, because I mean there was enough space here. I mean, even if you got in just a little bit late, like say for example you got in like right here, you still got your 10 points. Let's see, your entry was at 38,932. And you got in at the very top of the mall right here. Yeah, I mean, if you're that late, then you should just not take the trade, right? Because you literally got out at you got in at our TP. So by the time you got in, everybody was already out. Yeah, I mean, it's all good while it happens. What I recommend in the future is watch the countdown, right? I'm always watching the countdown. Whenever I'm taking entry, I'm looking at the countdown on the side over here. So I'm usually counting down from like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once it hits 1, I'm usually hitting enter already. Yeah, because you got in like way too late. You got in like literally at the worst possible time. At that point, I would have even closed out early if I got in late. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, Lamar. It happens. Yeah, like what Sadie said, just bad luck. It's just bad luck on that trade. You got to keep in mind the volatility here is super high. So, I mean, when I saw my profits, I thought I made like almost 2,000. I thought the slippage hit me where I got out like way out here, but it ended up pulling back down and pulled me out right after, which is all good. I mean, it happens. It's all part of the game. All right, guys, we have new structure down here. Yeah, Vimal said I'm also going to get a new computer and upgrade to faster RAM. Yeah, I mean, it might have been your computer. So you might have clicked on time and your computer just acted like it just reacted late. That could be the thing too. A lot of different factors there, but it's all good, Vimal. You'll bounce back from it. All right, so looking at this over here, guys, we have a new consolidation area down here. This is a new area of consolidation. You can see prices having trouble getting past this lower low right here. Mall City, I true. I blame my 8-year-old laptop. The thing with computers is that you have to change them pretty often. except for Max. I feel like Max kind of, as long as you have like a high-end Mac, like for example, my computer that I'm trading on right here, it's an iMac Pro from like 2019. So it's about, it was like the last iMac Pro that came out, or maybe 2017. I can't remember the year. But when I got this iMac Pro, I fully spec'd it out. So I got like everything that you can get that was like the highest capacity at the time. So I've been using it for years and I've never had any problems with it. But with PCs, I feel like you have to change them pretty often. Like I think a PC life, you probably have to change it almost every 2 years because it gets outdated super, super quickly and it gets, pretty much fried up. That's the thing that I didn't like about PCs, but it is what it is. You'll make enough profit trading to buy a new PC every year for me too. Like I'm probably gonna get rid of this laptop maybe by next year, if not the year after, even though it's a really good laptop. All right, guys, so we got price kind of bouncing up right here. There's not really too much going on. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll keep looking for some opportunities here, but it's not looking like we're going to get anything here. You can see the volatility starting to die down a bit. It was currently at like 35. It's now at like 32. So as we get closer and closer to 740, which is typically my cutoff time, you'll see the volatility here die down. So now you can see it's down to 30. So again, like I said earlier, guys, this is what you have to focus on. Focus on the ATR before you even start looking for any entries. Because if the ATR is too high, then it's going to be abnormal moves happening, right? You're going to see some spikes, you're going to see some huge candles. But if the ATR starts to slow down a little bit, you can start to see and realize that, okay, this might be the time where it's probably going to smoothen out. So there's a possible triple confluence right here, guys. I don't know if anybody's looking to take it. I think it's a little tricky. In my opinion, I think it's tricky from where it's currently at right now. But I mean, it could be good because price could be pushing back down to the news price from this morning. Again, this candle is way too big, so I'm definitely not going to take this here. This candle is almost 50 points. Yeah, it's way too big for me. Would have been nice if it closed up here. I'd have been maybe okay taking it, but this is just way too big. I mean, it looks like it probably already hit CP too right away. Yeah, it looks like it already hit CP. Like it literally hit CP on the open of the next candle. Lamal, don't enter this. Don't enter this now. Now you're for sure too late again if you try to enter this here. Um, yeah, I'm shocked that you got in like that late though, like at the very end. I mean, it's all good though. It's happened to me before, but it's happened to me on a unregulated broker, which is expected because what you'll see a lot of times with unregulated brokers is that you'll see a spike in spread. Like right now, the spread's like 1. If you're trading and it's like during a volatile time, you'll see the spread kind of jump up to like 10, 8, 7, 5, etc. Right here, you can see it just stays at 1 pretty much all session, right? 1 to 2 around there. So yeah, again, guys, this is a triple confluence. Again, the ATR is just, I mean, it's not super high now. It's starting to drop down a little bit, but this candle here is just way too big. Um, let's see. So one thing that you can possibly look for if anybody's looking for any other entries here is a possible momentum divergence, right? The price is kind of pulling back up right here. So if it's pulling back up like this, this could possibly set up for a momentum divergence. So you're getting the retracement, price probably gonna retrace to maybe halfway of this red candle right here, this huge candle. And then at that point, it might correct back down. So some retracement here and possible correction right back down. Or not. So let's see if it bounces off this area here. So what I'm looking for is what I'm looking at here is I'm just looking at the divergence. I'm looking for that divergence to come back down. I think the divergence here, I'm really glad that I split this indicator up into like multiple indicators because the divergence here helps a lot. You can kind of predict where price is going to go next. You can see that the divergence is actually not coming back down. So you don't have to worry about, or you don't have to even think about taking any sells here yet because the divergence here has not confirmed anything, right? This here is a huge game. It's a huge factor in my analysis now. When I first initially started trading, I used to have this as a secondary indicator down here. But when I started teaching people how to trade, I wanted to make things super simple. So I actually took this out of the picture. But now that I realize it, I'm like, I should have just left this part of the picture this whole time because this is actually very helpful with kind of predicting where price is going to go. Because sometimes you'll see the divergence here shift before price actually moves, right? And like if you, for example, if you see the divergence here shift back to bearish and the candles are still pushing up or they're going sideways, then you already know price is probably going to come down next because the divergence already told you. So yeah, I'm glad that we split this up. I forgot who asked me about this, but like it kind of turned a switch on in my brain to remind me that, okay, this is what I used to use back then. This is probably gonna be good for now because this is how we trade anyways, off the momentum. Yeah, Drew said just wiped out all those buyers. Nasty. Exactly, right? So everyone who was looking to take the buys earlier over here just got wiped out. And then now whoever's looking to take the sells right here is getting wiped out again. So let's go over here to the clean chart so you guys can see things better. You can see this is just a fake out, right? So this was just a huge, nasty fake out down here. And you guys can see where price is back in the range. You guys just got to keep that in mind. Whenever price breaks out from an area, just remember that price is likely to come back into the range where it was in before. Because this is how the market was. Like if you guys were trading with me on Monday, this is exactly what was happening. Price was kind of breaking out of the range. It was like staircasing. If you guys remember, this was like literally what was happening. Price was staircasing and then it would pull back into the range eventually. And it's doing the same thing here again. It's just a repeat of Monday on, I mean, it actually looks really, it looks very similar to Monday. Because this is literally what happened. Like we thought market was going to move directional, but it was really just staircasing downwards. And if I like, yeah, if I draw a structure here, you can kind of see where the staircase was happening. So price was ranging around this area, staircase down, staircase down. It created a range right here. A staircase down to lure in some sellers because people thought price is going to keep dropping, but realistically it faked out. And then it just pulled back into same range over here. And I wouldn't be surprised for another fake out. So like you guys can see how fake outs are happening on both ends. So price pulled back into the range, faked out for the people who thought price is going to go back into the range. And now it's just consolidating right here. So now it's like people have to decide, okay, what's going to happen next? Is price going to swing back up or is it going to pull back down? And this is what makes it hard for a lot of day traders, right? For us, we're more considered scalpers because we're in the market for like a few seconds or a few minutes. But for day traders, I mean, if I was day trading this and price kept ranging, I would be going, like my mind would be all over the place. Because say, for example, you chase the buy here, right? And I'm sure a lot of day traders chase the buy here on open. So I'm just going to replay real quick. So imagine this right here. You see market open, push up, and you're like, oh, market's going to be bullish today, right? And you take your buy right there, and you're like, okay, cool. I'm in profit. You're all happy. And then price comes back below, and you're like, fuck. Now you're in the negative, and you're looking for the correction back up. Price comes back up. Like your emotions will be all over the place. Because just use the opening price as a day trader's entry point, right? Just imagine, like if you're a day trader, you enter a buy there, your emotions are going to be all over the place. So price is back up, you're happy again. It comes back down, you're like, crap. You're like tripping out now because the negative news came out. And then you're like, okay, crap, I'm in the negative now. Price comes down lower. And then you know what happens here, right? When people are day trading, they average cost in. So like when price comes back down, they take some more buys right here. They try to buy the dip. And what happens next? Price keeps dipping. And they're like, oh, I'll buy the dip again. And then it happens again, price keeps dipping. They're like, fuck, I'm gonna blow my account. They keep dipping right here. And then it happens to dip right here. And then they see price come back up and they're like happy again. And then all of a sudden, it comes right back down. So you just got to keep that in mind, guys. That's why I could never be a day trader. I mean, I started out as a day trader, but it's like it's tough because if you're stuck in a position like this, like people typically like to pyramid into a position, and this is why you see a lot of day traders blow their accounts because they try to hedge their way in and they try to pyramid in because they're like, oh, I'm buying at such a cheap discount over here, which yeah, they're probably right. Like price is probably dumping right here, and then eventually by the end of the day, there's going to be a correction, right? But I don't have the trade psychology to hold on to a position like that. Because typically what a day trader will do is like a traditional day trader is they'll look at opening price and that's going to be their gauge. So they're just going to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, and hope that price comes back up at some point, which it probably will, but I don't have the stomach to do that. To get caught in a situation like that. I mean, looking at current price over here, if you look at the overall, it still looks very bullish, right? So the shorter time frames look nasty. Like the 1 minute looks super nasty. The 5 minute looks nasty. The 10 minute here looks okay. Looks like it's trying to swing back up. 30 minutes still bullish. 1 hour is bullish. 4 hours bullish. So what I can see here is price will probably correct back up by like the end of market. But I wouldn't be able to stomach that if this was the case. So let's see. Let me scroll up real quick. Let's see. CJ said high level momentum hit. Yeah, so there's a high level momentum that happened right here, actually, that buy. So there's a lower low there, buy signal broken, close above. I think it was too big of a candle, but it did hit. Ken said it felt like it was going to trace after the buy signal. Yeah, and it did. Came right back down. Yeah, CJ said that's why I took the trade yesterday because I knew it would go back into the range. So when you confirmed it, he took it. Yeah. And there we go. Its price drops lower. So I'll keep drawing a structure down here so you can kind of see where price is likely to pull back into. All right, so we have a new range down here. I mean, it's kind of just establishing new ranges. It comes down, range, comes down, big range, fake outs on both sides. And you can see right here another fake out below. It's a double body rejection. And it pulls back into the range right there. It almost filled the news candle. So it actually filled it, Nick. I don't know if you're still here. Is Nick still here? Yeah, Nick's still here. It actually filled it. And it looks like it's now ready for correction back up. Or actually didn't fill it completely. It's almost there. But it didn't necessarily touch it just yet. Let's see, Vimal said he took the buy on the divergence cross, hit TP for 10 points, which strategy, but then he accidentally took a sell and hit another TP, so he's back to break even. Nice work, Vimal. So Vimal made a couple accidental trades here, but he's back to break even for the day. So nice work right there, Vimal. Let's see, Kevin's asking, I'm chilling right now. Just curious if that was a pivot scalp. Yeah, so the sell signal right here was a pivot scalp, Kevin. So price here was bearish. The candle wasn't too big. Let's check. So the candle was a little big. I mean, if you're going for like a 1030, it'd be a little different because the ATR is so high. The candle is just a little big. So you see here how this candle here is a little bigger than the stop loss. That would kind of like trigger a red flag for me. But I mean, nonetheless, this is still a pivot scalp entry. So there's a sell signal here. The trend is bearish. Trend meter below is bearish as well. And it's just here lined up for a pivot scalp if you wanted to take it. However, the ATR is just a little too high still. So it's still not one that I would mess with. unless you want to change up your TP stop loss. Like if you want to change it up, like I mentioned earlier, and instead use a 25.50, that probably would have been a better option, right? So if you want to do 25.50 because of because the ATR is so high, I would have felt more comfortable with that because this candle right here doesn't overextend past the stop loss. Go for bigger TP, bigger stop loss, but you would have you would have been safer here with the current volatility of the market. And then also a BB3 came up right there as well. Yeah, there's actually a pretty good amount of entries here. Nathan's asking about the MPS. I don't think there's an MPS right here, Nathan, because this green candle is past the momentum. So the retracement has to happen below the momentum. So you have levels right here. Yeah, it's a little too high. So we have the sell signal right there. If this green candle closed, like say down here, then you'd have an MPS right there. But because it's like it's a past the momentum right here, that wouldn't be an MPS. So the MPS is still available. What you would look for here is you look for price to kind of come down a little bit, maybe retrace right here. And then the entry would happen like right there. It's got to happen at below this level though. So below the 700 mark, because the 710 mark is where the momentum's at. So the MPS would have to happen below this point here. Yeah, Ken said I got my one trade on that retracement, so he's done. Fridays normally F them up. Yeah, I agree. Fridays are usually the days where a lot of people will mess up their accounts, guys. So if you guys are pretty satisfied with your profits for the week so far and for the day, I would just wrap it up personally. Because typically from what I've seen is a lot of people start to, like I see this happen a lot with people and it sucks. Like I hate seeing this happen to people because I know it's like, it like crushes your soul. Like people will have a good day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they lose a trade on Friday, and then they revenge trade because they want to make it back or they want to close the week in positive, and then they end up being in the negative for the week. So they basically they did all this work Monday through Thursday to make a bunch of profit, and then they make 2 or 3 mistakes on Friday, and their accounts are back in the red, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen that before, and it's probably happened to you before too. It's happened to everybody. If it's happened to you, don't worry. It's a normal occurrence. It's even happened to me a lot of times. Um, it happens a lot when people are close to passing their evals. That's where I see it the most. Like people, like they get really close to passing their evals, and they just want to take 1 or 2 more trades to pass their eval on a Friday, and they overdo it. It's it happens all the time. Yeah, Casey said that's what happened to me last Friday. Thought his account back this week. Yeah, no, that's typically what happens, guys. So don't feel bad about it if that's what happened to you, because that literally happens to everybody. A lot of people just don't admit it, or they don't say it, or they don't post profits, or they don't post their losses, but it happens. It happens to, I think that Fridays are probably like the worst day for everybody. So there's a lot of people in the group who don't even trade on Fridays. They'll trade with us here Monday through Thursday, and then Friday they'll just take the day off because they know Fridays are usually where they make bad decisions. Yeah, Natasha said it happens to her all the time. I wouldn't disagree with that, especially since you're trading at work too, Natasha, because you're like ready to wrap it up for the week and you just want to get in and out, and you're like, man, fuck this job, right? That's probably how you feel, Natasha. You're probably at work and you're like, yeah, you're at work trading on your phone, and you're like, I just need to make 1 more profit so I can leave this job. And then you get distracted, and yeah, I mean it's normal. That's typically what it is. You get into that mindset where you're like, it's a Friday at work, and you're like, man, I'm making more profit from trading, and then it ends up ruining your weekend. Yeah, exactly. Johnny said he's been there 100%. Same with Kenneth. Madhu's asking, would you take this divergence possibly coming up? So I was looking at the divergence right there, Madhu, and I would have been, yeah, I probably would have taken it personally, because so this is why I would have been okay with that. Madhu, let me show you real quick. So see how like price still needs to come down and touch news price in the sessions? Like the target price point still hasn't been touched yet. It got close to it, but not touched it. So that's why I would have been sort of okay with taking a divergence if it came up. Because if the divergence happened like somewhere down here, it would give me enough space for me to come in at least hit my TP before it swung up, right? But it didn't happen, so it's all good. And this is why it's important to be patient, because if you're not, you can get in when you're not supposed to. Yeah, Kevin said been there too. That's why I closed my trade after that win. Yeah, you know, that reminds me, I should just close mine too. Past 740 anyways. All right, so there's not really much going on here, guys. It's 7:45, about 15 minutes till 8. You guys can see prices starting to range within this lower area down here. Yeah, it's within this range now. So you guys can see the fake out happen below here. And I think what's going to happen here for the next 15 minutes is it's just going to sit in between this range. So if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to put them in the chat. Let's take a look at everybody's profits for the day so far. There's not really much going on, so nothing that we're missing here. So we got travel over here, total profit of 400 for the day. Nice word, travel. We got Vince here. Nice to see you posting some profits, Vince. It's been a while. Total profit of 1,000 for the day. Nice work, Vince. We got Madhu here, total profit of 200 for the day. Nice work, Madhu. We got Natasha here, total profit of 554. Nice work, Natasha. You got David here, total profit of about 100 on his FTMO account, and a total profit of 60 on his TradeAbate account. Nice work, David. We got Kenneth here, total profit of 750 per account. He has 4 accounts here, so well over, we're going to say about 3,000 for the day. All wins there. And we have Song over here with a total profit of about 1,000 across both of his accounts. Nice work, Song. And of course, my profits over here. So let's add up my profits. You know, it's been a while. Kind of been out the loop since Wednesday after that mistaken loss. It kind of just threw off my trade psychology. So I didn't even bother to add up my profits at all this week. So let's add this up real quick. Let me unplug my laptop. Laptop's good. So let's see, I made about 900 times 18. 900 times 18. That's 16,200 plus 2,000 for the 1,000 wins. That's 18,000 plus 430 on my personal account. So I locked in 18,630 on for the day. And then for the week so far, I recouped my losses. So let's see, 1,476 times 19 plus 1,576 plus my personal account 113. So total profit, not as much as usual, but I mean, it's still a pretty good profit for the day and the week. So for the day so far, or in total, I'm up 18,630 for the day. And then for the week, I'm up 29,733. So not too bad for the trading day in the week so far. I mean, this is the first, so we're kicking off May. So I'm going to try to, what I'll try to do here is I'll try to keep monthly totals too. So when the month's done, I'll, so that you guys can kind of see where the progress is for like the whole month, right? Because I think that's key. Like in order for you guys to be like realistic with your profits, you have to keep in mind that you have to factor in the whole month, not just the week, or not just the day. What I see with a lot of people is like, you know, you guys are focusing on just the day, right? But the day can fluctuate. So I know sometimes you guys will have a good day, sometimes you have a bad day, and you'll just not feel good about posting anything. But if you guys keep your week in mind. So every week, I would recommend to just focus on closing the week in green. If you can close every week in green, then by the end of the month, you're going to be in green by the end of the month for sure, right? And I think that's a key thing. Because if you guys can stay in profit and stay consistent, I know staying consistent for a day is like hard enough for a lot of people, but if you can stay consistent for a week, that's the next step. Staying consistent for an entire month, that's like game changer. Because if you can be consistent and be positive for the month, then you should have no problem being positive for the year. Right? It's like baby steps. Be good for the day, be good for the week, and be good for the month. And then once you're good for the month, you'll be good for the year. And that's just kind of how you got to take it. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. We got some profits over here from Vimal, total profit of 86 for the day. Nice recoup from that accidental loss earlier, Vimal. And it's good that you made it back into profit for this day and for this week. So I think this is about it, guys. It's 7:50 right now, 10 minutes till 8. You guys can see the volatility died down quite a bit. Went from 35 ATR to now 25. Not expecting any movement here from now until 8 o'clock. Again, if you guys want to trade further, I'd probably wait until about 9 or 10 o'clock. That's when the volatility will pick back up. And of course, power hour as we get closer to the end of the session. So yeah, other than that, it's a great week, guys. This week was pretty good. Let's see our trades for the week so far. So we had, I think we had all wins for this week. I just had a loss myself because I made that dumb mistake on Wednesday. So I kind of like, I know it kind of sucks because looking over here, I made 29,000. I was up pretty nice for like the week. I was up like 20,000 for the week on Monday, I think. Yeah. So I would have been up like 40,000 for this week if I didn't make that stupid mistake on Wednesday. But it's okay. Mistakes happen. And I'm just happy to close the week in profit. So we had about 1, 2, 3 wins this week. No official losses aside from my mistake that I took. But yeah, pretty much a week with no losses. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday for market open.